Hi everyone, and thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Everything Local. Today I'm joined by Justin from our team. Thanks for joining me, Justin.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks for the opportunity.
That's okay. So I think it's probably timely. We're coming up to like the 1 year anniversary for the business, and you started with us from day one. I don't know what you were thinking coming into a new business that had no track record.
Yeah.
Well, I did essentially, but the business didn't. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you and sort of what you're about?
Well, thanks, Josh. Thanks for the opportunity today for the podcast. Always wanted to get on one of these. Here we are. But yeah, look, interesting. So you and I met, it was about a year ago now. So sent you a message. I think we gelled quite well from day one. I saw an opportunity come up. You leaving your old office to start your new one. I saw the ambition you had, the vision that you had for the business, and how you wanted to go with that. And look, I think it was something I connect with and wanted to be a part of. So here we are.
You were with the CBA at the time, and
yeah, that's right, Josh. I was at the bank for a bit. That was quite an interesting role, and it really helps in terms of real estate. Understanding the consumer in that part of the financing part of the whole transaction. So having that background as well, it was a seamless transition into real estate.
Yeah. So what did you actually do at CBA when you were?
So we're actually the good question. We're dealing with a lot of home loans, personal loans in the collection part. So. Collecting on, making sure that payments were on time, making sure people are up to date, they were falling behind, getting them on a payment plan to, suit their needs and so on. So it was more of almost a blanket for the consumer. So.
Yeah. So when people were sort of going through troubled times, I guess, not being able to pay.
We were the step before the hardship team. So we were kind of just trying to get them on the right track, give them a bit of like a breathing space to make the right step, make the right choices, and move from there. Yeah.
So did you have to monitor their accounts so before they got to that point you got in touch, or was it the consumer getting in touch with you?
Good question. So no, we had to call. So some calls weren't the best. Bit of a challenging call sometimes. However, we would really spend a lot of time ensuring that the client was on the right path and making sure they don't fall behind. So we'd either sometimes give them some kind of almost a guarantee, almost a blanket, not a blanket.
Well, I guess like a period of sort of time for them to be able to pay back some of
course,
that money.
Yeah, exactly.
A bit of leniency might be
exactly
the
right. So we might defer their interest repayments for a certain time, like a few months, and just to make sure they get them on the right track, so it doesn't sit on their record that they've been through hardship, essentially.
Yeah, good stuff. And then the transition into real estate, like why real estate? What was the sort of idea behind that?
Okay, well, real estate, look, I think it's a fascinating industry. The sky's the limit, really. You can, well, first of all, I'm a massive people person.
Yeah.
I love meeting people of all walks of life. Interacting with the local community too. Really like that. It gives you a good idea of, I guess Australia as a whole, but in our particular part of Sydney. So, and helping people by, it's really exciting. We deal with people as first home buyers, then you get downsizers and everything in between. So, it's, the sky's the limit, really.
Yeah, of course, plenty of opportunities, and also opens doors into other areas.
Exactly
of life,
right. Yeah.
So what's been, I guess, how's the journey been coming into real estate? Because you had very little to no experience, working in the banking sector, you get a little bit of an idea of how things work. What's it been like? How's the journey been? What have been some of the challenges as well that you've had to face?
Good question. So transitioning from the bank, there was a lot of similarities in terms of structure. However, in real estate, we're a lot more structured in a way. Having that under your guidance as well, having good structure in terms of, we know what we're doing as soon as we get into the office. Everything's very structured. We know what we're doing every minute. So,
So dive a bit deeper into that, because I think that's the one thing I love about our business and the way that we all work is that we are very structured. So what does a day look like? You come into the office, what happens?
So first thing, we have a meeting. So first thing we discuss what's happening for the day, who's doing what and so on, like who's speaking to, certain groups. If we have properties that we're looking after, who's looking after what, who's doing what. So everyone knows what we're doing throughout the day.
Yeah.
So everyone's, on the same path, and we all, at 3:00 as well, we have another meeting just to check in and see what's happening throughout the day.
Yeah. And that morning meeting, we'll have a list of things that you're responsible for.
Of course, yeah.
List of things that I'm responsible for. So basically having that sort of structure so you know where you're headed on each individual day.
Exactly. It gives you clarity in your day as well, and also the team too. So for example, if I need Jasmine for something, or Jeet, or one of the other, or Sarah, or anyone, I know exactly what time they're going to be available. So it's seamless, and if I need to speak to somebody, I know exactly when to contact them. So really, at the end of the day, it's just efficiency. So.
Yeah, of course. And we've got an interesting way of communicating within the business. We don't do a lot verbally, so talk to us a little bit about that. So, was that a big transition for you moving into that space?
Yeah, it is actually. So we'll use a few platforms, but especially Slack. So that's internal communications software. So that's really helpful. So you can use that on the go. So we're chatting. Instead of calling each other every 5 seconds, just sending each other a message, like for example at Open Home, just keep you updated what's happening and what's happening where and who's going where and so on.
Yeah,
updated.
And I think we do it. We're very mindful of each other's time, right? So we know that when we're involved in a task, to pull someone away from that task takes them a couple of minutes to get back into it.
Exactly.
So we're very mindful of each other's time. We do have a culture here where we do hang out. We can actually have a good conversation with each other, but we try and remove the smaller talk when we're in business mode, and then we try and incorporate that a little bit later on.
Yeah,
right?
To add to that, when we work, we work. When we play, we play. So it's we've got a really good mix of that, and we do. You guys are pretty much my family. I'm here, most of the time. So yeah.
We can get rid of you if you want to, though. With your actual blood family, you can't technically.
True. There you are.
Yeah. So talk to us about what is your role involved, and you've been doing, like, door knocking has been a massive part of your business. Why don't you tell us about what you enjoy about that and what sort of success you've been getting from that?
Okay. So look, mate, from day one, it's I've got the whole idea of everything in real estate. So you've under your and Jasmine and Sarah's guidance, helped me understand the whole process. So look, we've had challenges throughout, but we've how our structure is in our office. We don't dwell on things more than just as long as a few minutes, and then move on. We have a plan in place. Something goes wrong, we deal with it, move on to the next. So, so from day one, essentially helping with open homes. That's been interesting, meeting a lot of buyers and sellers in the marketplace. And then also with the door knocking part, I really enjoy that. Massive people person. I really enjoy meeting people in our community. You're actually speaking to buyers and sellers, and you're understanding the depth and where they are in that point of life, and where their plans, like if they want to move up the coast or something, or where they plan in the next few years. So look, everyone has a different timeline essentially, and to have all that and do the job, it's a great opportunity. Yeah,
and it was interesting, like for me, when you first started looking at where we were going to place you within the business and what your sort of strengths were. And we first had you on the phone, and you're great on the phone, don't get me wrong, but then when we put you in front of people, like 10x, you were going out there kicking some serious goals, and you've made some really big headwind within the business in terms of, meeting people, generating data, so being able to talk to them, getting permission from them to actually provide them with valuable information. And you'll go out to streets in the area, and you're absolutely doing really well in that space.
Thanks, Josh.
So I think that was good for us to be able to see where we were going to be able to best utilize you, but also allowing you to do what you really enjoy. There's days where you'll come in and you're pumped to go out there and do some door knocking, and I'm like, that was me when I first started. But there's a lot of people that think of door knocking as like it's hell, it's like a chore.
Look, don't get me wrong, sometimes you some days it's 40 degrees, and at the start of the year it was 42 degrees and out there, and I think Josh drove past me and handed me a Gatorade. That was pretty funny. I'm like, here we are, it's real estate. So and then from that, it's you understand the area, you understand the demographics, you understand what people are buying into. So when the buyer does come through the property, Josh, you actually know what you're talking about. First of all, you can help them. It's easier for them to know, to speak to us and give an idea on where they are, where they're buying, not only bed, bathroom and car, but like local shops and so on, and the community, give them a feel of that. So I think it's really helpful, actually being on the street and meeting people face to face all the time. So
definitely. I want to jump out of real estate a little bit and talk a little bit more about the personal life, and you can go as deep as you want here. But the one thing that I've noticed about you working within the business and what we've been able to give you around structure is you've really incorporated that into your personal life. Things around your health and fitness, your gym, and all those sorts of things. What has working here and the tools that we've given you allowed you to take out of the environment of work into your personal life, and how has that changed things?
Of course. So, structure, number one, time management also. So I'm a naturally high energy person. It's just that now to balance the energy and throughout the day and also the timing. So what I do is, for example, the structure I've taken in our office. So it's almost like a military operation here. So I know exactly what I'm doing in the morning. So I've incorporated that in the gym. So I get home, head to the gym. After the gym, come home, go for a run, eat, go to bed. So it's essentially read or watch something on a podcast or something.
Yeah.
But then it really has helped a lot having that structure. So I know exactly what I'm doing. I can regulate my energy throughout the day. So I'm eating at right times, especially for the door knocking and back to work too. So it's helped. It's helped a lot.
Yeah, and it's literally like clockwork, and it's really interesting seeing that, like, come in, same time, get on the phones, have a bit to eat, go out and do your door knocking, you'll come back, have a good amount of food again, chill out for a little bit, then go out again. And it's literally nearly the same time every single day, with a few changes depending on appointments here and there.
Yeah.
But you've really made a big commitment to making sure that you get food in, so making sure that you're eating consistently,
quality food too,
and quality food, but also making sure that your sort of mind is quite stable as well.
Of course.
And really focusing on that, because you're a big advocate around mind and maybe overthink things a little bit too much, which is something that we're definitely working on.
Yeah.
What's changed in that space around the overthinking? Because we sat down not too long ago and looked at your goals, which is something that we're quite big on. And
that was interesting.
Yeah, and we dive pretty deep into that. So tell us a bit about the goals, and you don't have to go into the actual goals themselves, but what you've learned from actually doing that exercise.
Yeah, of course. So, look, I think mindset is the most important thing. If anything, I mean, how you think and what you put into your mind ultimately determines your outcome. So, I'm very, very mindful of everything I do, everything I process in my mind, how I view things. If something bad happens, which is inevitable, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't sit there and dwell on it. I think, you have to put something in place. Look, you can cry or, deal with it in that way, but get over it in the next few minutes or so on, and then move on. So you have a plan in place. So then you kind of, throughout the, your period, you actually quite level and sustain. So that also ties into energy. So throughout everything, what you do in your personal life affects your business life and so on. So it's super, super important, I think.
Yeah. And I think it was more important for you to get those goals written down because you're very high energy, but if there's no one steering you, you're running around in circles in a nice way, right?
No,
but the energy is contagious, and it's awesome to have that. But at the same time, if we're not putting you on a train track, you're literally running around in circles. So I think what the goals did for what I thought they would do, and again, you can elaborate on this, but it gave you a vision. And we broke that down a little bit further, and you said you wanted to write a certain amount of money you wanted to buy something in particular, and I broke that down even further. I'm like, how much is that going to cost you?
I think
it was a house.
Was you paying for my trips overseas?
Yeah, a little bit like that. You've got some pretty hefty targets on that. One of them was like getting a house, and I'm like, let's break it down further. You need X deposit. That means you need to do X amount of appointments, secure X amount of sales. And I think that was very important for you to understand something that you were aiming for.
Of course. So yeah, exactly right. So when you set a target, it's clear, it's concise, it's in manageable chunks as well.
Yeah.
It's pretty ambitious. However, what have we turned down? So,
of course.
It's why I'm here.
Yeah.
So
So last two questions.
Yeah.
What would you tell yourself if you went back to day one in real estate, coming into Saliba estate agents? What would you be doing differently, or what would you tell yourself back
Right.
then?
Okay. So first thing I would have said to myself, get ready, and hold on. So we move fast. Obviously, given what we've done in the past few months, being open to under a year now.
Yeah.
So look, I've loved it. This is the speed I love operating at, and we just, we're always looking to take it further and faster. So,
of course,
really exciting stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, mate, look, it's been a pleasure, honestly, absolutely having you here. And I don't say that much because we are in work mode a lot, and we haven't done a lot of the play mode. We do get out a little bit to try and enjoy that, but there's going to be a little bit more of that coming. But first year in business, I think there's challenges there. So we will head down, bum up, and I really do appreciate the effort that you put in.
Thanks, Josh.
Especially in a new business, you need those sorts of things and those sorts of people around you. So congratulations on all your success. There's some big things coming. And thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Everything Local podcast with Josh Saliba. We really want to push the community and showcase the local businesses by providing them a platform to tell their story. Support these businesses by following the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you are a business or know of a business in the local area and would like to feature them on an episode, please contact Josh Saliba with the contacts provided in the show notes. Tune in next week for another episode of the Everything Local podcast.